Hi, boys and girls. How are you doing? I'm okay. I wish I was with you. I took the book away from Sage and I'm going to read Chapter 2, A to Z Mysteries, The Absent Author, by Ron Roy, publisher, Scholastic. I might make boo-boos, but I'll do my accuracy things and back up and reread if I do. We're not going to re-record this because it's just going to be live. Scout's right here. And he wants my attention. He keeps putting, if I stop, watch what it'll do. And that means pet me, mom. So anyhow, get comfortable, and I'm going to read this to you. Sit down, Scout. Chapter 2. Dink raced into the book nook. Oh, I want to tell you that there's a map in this book, and I tried to show you in yesterday's video that they walked to the book nook, and it's a neat map. And so they're going to go from the book nook in this chapter to the little diner, and a diner is a little bitty restaurant, and on the map, so here's the book nook. And then they go up the main street, and because this is folded into the middle of the book, the street looks really big, but it's not that big. They go from the book nook up the street and across the street to Ellie's Diner. And so the map is really important. If you could ever pull up a map and look at it, I'll try to keep showing on the map where they go to, and I'll mark an X where they stop. But the map is super important. I'll back up and reread. I think they go to the diner in this chapter. I can't remember. Anyways, okay, Dink raced into the book nook. Josh and Ruth Rose were right behind him, and they found 3 seats behind Tommy Tomko and Eddie Carini. Dink plopped his pack on the floor. The clock over the cash register said 3 minutes after 11. "Where's he at?" Dink whispered to Tommy Tomko. Tommy turned around. "Beats me, he's not here yet. And Mr. Paskey looks worried." "What's going on?" Ruth Rose said. Dink told her and Josh what Tommy had said. "Mr. Paskey looks pretty nervous," Josh whispered. "Mr. Paskey always looks nervous," Dink whispered back, looking around the room. He saw about 30 kids he knew. Mrs. Davis, Dink's neighbor, was looking at gardening books. Dink checked out the other grown-ups in the store. None of them looked like the famous Mr. Ryder. Mr. Paskey stood up. "Boys and girls, welcome to the book nook. Wallace should be here any second. How many of you have books to be autographed?" Everyone waved a book in the air. "Wonderful. I'm sure Mr. Wallace will be happy to know that Green Lawn is a reading town." Kids clapped and cheered. Dink glanced at the clock. 5 past 11. He swallowed, trying to stay calm. Wallace was late, but it was only by 5 minutes. Slowly, 5 more minutes passed. Dink felt his palms getting damp. Where is Wallace, he wondered. Some of the kids started getting restless. Dink heard one kid say, "Whenever I'm late, I get in trouble." "So where is he?" Josh asked. Ruth Rose looked at her watch. "It's only 10 after, she said. "Famous people are always late." Now Dink stared at the clock. The big hand jerked forward, paused, then wobbled forward again. At 11:15, Mr. Paskey stood up again. "I don't understand why Wallace is late," he said. Dink noticed that his bald head was shiny with sweat. His bow tie was getting a workout. And I'll show you the picture. So in the middle is Mr. Paskey, and he's getting very nervous. I don't know if it's going to work that way.
It worked.
Mr. Paskey smiled bravely, but his eyes were blinking like crazy through his thick glasses. "Shall we give him a few more minutes?" The crowd grumbled, but nobody wanted to go anywhere. Ruth Rose started to read her book. Josh opened his sketch pad and began drawing Mr. Paskey. Dink turned and stared at the door. He mentally ordered Wallace Wallace to walk through it. "You have to come," thought Dink. Ever since he had received Wallace Wallace's letter, he thought about only one thing, meeting him today. Suddenly, Dink felt his heart skip a beat. The letter! "Short of being kidnapped," the letter said. "Nothing will stop me from coming." Kidnapped! Dink shook himself. Of course, Wallace Wallace hadn't been kidnapped. Mr. Paskey stood again, but this time he wasn't smiling. "I'm sorry, kids," he said, "but Wallace Wallace doesn't seem to be coming after all." The kids groaned. They got up, scraping chairs and bumping knees. Mr. Paskey apologized to them as they crowded past and headed for the door. "I've read every single one of his books," Dink heard Amy Flower tell another girl. "Now I'll probably never meet anyone famous." "I can't believe we gave up our soccer game for this," Tommy Tomko muttered to Eddie Carini on their way out the door. Ruth Rose and Josh went next, but Dink remained in his seat. He was too stunned to move. He felt the letter through his jeans, short of being kidnapped. Finally, Dink got up and walked out. Josh and Ruth Rose were waiting for him. "What's the matter?" Ruth Rose said. "You look sick." "I am sick," Dink mumbled. "I invited him here. It's my fault." "What's your fault?" Josh asked. "This," he said. He thrusted the letter into Josh's hands. "Wallace Wallace has been kidnapped." That was the end of chapter 2. So I guess they're not going to go to the diner in this chapter. And I spilled the beans just a little bit because I think it's in the next chapter. So this is a book about mysteries. And if you recall, in chapter 1, and this is what Dink keeps saying, Wallace wrote in his very last sentence, "Short of being kidnapped, nothing will stop me from coming. See you soon." So Dink thinks that Wallace Wallace was kidnapped because of what he wrote in his letter. And he didn't show up to the Book Nook to sign books. I hope you liked it. I hope you're hanging in there. I miss you so very much. One more day of school before spring break. I can't wait to see more socks. I saw Aya's socks and Ollie's socks and Harper's socks. Harper has one sock as a shark and it's eating the pineapples on his other sock. It's pretty funny. I can't wait to see you guys again in your photos and your little emails, which are like text messages to me. Malik texted me today in an email and said he leveled up. And Ali emailed me yesterday and said he leveled up. I am so proud of all of you. Very, very, very proud of you. I wish I could see you very, very soon, but every time you send me a little email, which is like a text message or a picture, I get to see you, just like you get to see me every time I send photos and videos. I'll keep reading them. Every once in a while I'll do a video like this, and other times I'll just do a movie video of the book. And if I can find what I need for science and social studies, I'll put those little videos on. And if not, I'll make them. And it will be my voice reading to you. I'm kind of having fun with it. It's really neat. I'm looking into trying to do a video meetup. We can't use the thing that's called Zoom. The school district doesn't want us using that. I'm going to try to figure out a different way that we can all log in and see each other. Until then, I love you very, very much. I miss you very, very much. Love you. Bye.